Well, hello there and welcome back to EVE Online. We finished what I would call the basic tutorial, at least that's the kind of feeling I get from it, and now we are moving on to the career agents, which should provide a more very, I should say, not narrow, but a very sort of general little bit of a taste of some of the things that EVE have to offer, just a very little bit of it. We'll see how far it actually goes, this new play experience, but I am actually very curious, and I am very surprised at how much effort they put into it. But it is one of the things that EVE was definitely lacking, and it is very, very good to see that they have done such a great job with implementing tutorials and the new play experience. So we have a bunch of stuff over here on the left side, and I will just hide this Capsuleer Day event. There's an event going on currently in EVE. There's no reason for me to see that. I will not be participating in it at the moment, at least. And we just need to undock. And then we have our route, because we just set the destination to the career agent in the previous episode.
Now that no one is actively trying to kill us, I will teach you how to navigate in space. The primary mode of interstellar travel through New Eden is via stargates, are also called jump gates because of the way ships seem to jump between distant locations. Now, initiate jumping to your destination.
You have two options. I would say, as a general, if you are in high sec, then just use jump. Normally in PvP fleet, you never use jump until you are told to. You're always told to just warp to the gate and then hold. Therefore, you would normally just click warp to within 0 meters and you just warp to the gate and not jump through it. If you click jump, then you warp to the gate and you jump through to the next system. We have the route we need to go. You can see here.
We are making our way through high security space under the control of the Galente Federation. That should mean that we are free from any immediate peril. Though please note, my emphasis is on the word should.
And should is definitely the right word, because you are never safe in EVE. Don't ever forget that. Even though we are in 1.0, which is the highest security status, you can always get killed in EVE by another player. If another player wants to kill you, then they definitely can kill you no matter where you are. Not saying they will always succeed, but if someone wanted to kill me now, he 100% could, because I'm in a completely, it's called a noob ship. The first ship you get is the Corvette, and it has no shield, it has no armor, and if someone wanted to kill me, they 100% could, even though we are in a very high security part of space. It goes from 1.0 all the way down to 0.6. That is high sec. And you have 0.5 all the way down to 0.1. That is low sec. And then you have 0.0, which is null sec. So if you kill another player, let me just go ahead and align while I talk. We can actually just walk and not jump. If you attack another player...
The Galente Federation is a democratic union containing many cultures. They have been in conflict with the Caldari state ever since it seceded from the Federation. They are currently at war, but it is mostly restricted to low security space. As a Capsuleer, you will be safe from the conflict. That is, unless you choose to enlist.
And that is what we will do. So, as I was saying, if you choose to attack another player inside a security sector of 1.0 to 0.6, you will get attacked by something called CONCORD. That is the sort of in-game NPC police. And if you start attacking another player in high sec, there will be a response time. The higher the security sector is, so 1.0 being the highest, there will be a very low response time before CONCORD shows up. If you are in 0.6, I don't remember the times. They can be found on online. I might just, you know what, I'll just go check them, then we can cover that completely. Yeah, so if you attack another player in 0.1 or 0.9, there is a roughly 6 seconds response time before CONCORD shows up. But that means that you have roughly 6 seconds to kill the other player or to be killed by that other player before they show up. Oh, and I actually made a mistake. 0.5 is also included. Is that new? I was pretty sure that 0.6 was the lowest high sec, but no, 0.5. I think it was always so. Anyway, 0.5 is also considered high sec, but there is a roughly 19 seconds response time, meaning close to half a minute, and half a minute is a hell of a long time in EVE. Now, if CONCORD shows up, they will of course start attacking the person who initiated the illegal attack. They will try and kill it. You will die somewhat fast if CONCORD attacks you. They deal a lot of damage. And if you do anything illegal in high sec, including attacking another player, you will also lose something called security standing, which is, I just made the bio, by the way. Where would you see? Yeah, so security status is this thing here. If your security status drops below, I don't remember the threshold, but if it drops below a certain point, then you will get attacked by NPCs whenever you are flying in high sec. And if it goes even further down below a certain threshold, then other players would be allowed to freely attack you. If you attack someone in low sec, being 0.4 all the way down to 0.1, CONCORD will not show up. You will still suffer a security penalty from doing illegal activities. Attacking other players is the one thing I can think of right now. You will suffer security penalties, but you will not get attacked by CONCORD, meaning that if you are in low sec, you have no one there to protect you. And in null sec, you can freely kill whoever you want to. You will not suffer security penalties. Security is negative, and CONCORD will never show up in low sec or null sec. So just keep that in mind. You are never safe in EVE. But again, in 1.0 and 0.9, I mean, you can definitely get killed in 6 seconds. But it's going to require, depending on what you are flying, it's going to require a lot of firepower. But there are groups of gankers.
After the collapse of the Eve Gate, humanity was scattered and isolated. Once they rediscovered space travel, the Gallente began contacting those living on other planets. According to archaeologists, the first settlers arrived through the Eve Gate over 15,000 years ago. When the gate collapsed, so did their civilization. It would be millennia later. We've reached our destination. Time to initiate the docking sequence, Captain.
And you can see here, it has a little sort of yellow. This shows where the autopilot has us going. I'll just align to that. And what was I saying before Aura so rudely interrupted me? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, there are squads. I shouldn't call them squads, but there are groups of gankers just flying around high sec trying to kill people. Code is let me just do this. I think they're just called code. You can type things in the chat, then you can right click, and then you can go for corporation. What would they be called? Oh, I forgot. There are a bunch of stuff named code in this game. You must select one. Is it the Alliance that's called code? Alliance code? Is that it? Yeah. So, code is a very, very famous group of gankers. They will extort you. If you are minors, you will have to pay their fee to not get killed. And I will definitely, one thing you can do, and I would definitely advise you to do this, is add contact and add them with terrible standing. That way, any members of code, meaning every single corporation in this alliance, this pilot has no standing, meaning they're neutral, but should any members of code show up in your local area, now I'm looking in corp, so there will not be any. I need to go to local. Should any members of code be in your local area, you will see them having this little red symbol here. And if you see a lot of code all of a sudden showing up in your system, you best get the hell inside of a station. Depending on what you are flying, I mean, you can never be safe, but if code shows up in numbers in the system you are in, that's the local chat bar here, then it's better to get safe real fucking quick. Dock up at a station, if you can, cloak up, fly to the sun, maybe not the sun, fly to some celestial body, a planet or something like that, and just get the hell away. But the best thing is if you can, dock up, and then you will be safe. So Code is a very, very famous ganker group. And again, they will extort if you are a miner, and if you mine, you will be given, I think they might kill you once, and then they contact you and say, oh, if you want to be left alone, then you have to pay our fee. And a lot of players end up paying that fee, some don't, and then Code will start to hunt them down somewhat actively. But as you can see, there are a lot of members of this alliance. So let's just... So Code Strength, that only has one member.
Oh. Now don't be shy. Begin a conversation with an agent. I'm sure they will love you. And if they don't, they will simply have to tolerate you.
And the thing is, go for the alliance if you want to add. You can also add alliances with positive standing. You could positively add Code if you want to. If you think, hey, Code are the best dudes ever, I'm gonna join Code. Definitely add them as blue instead of adding them with the... You can see they have a lot of finished wars. Wonder if they're actually not active anymore. Since or maybe they changed the war mechanic, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can... player corporations can declare war on each other. If they are eligible for war, there are certain things that need to be... Yeah, so you can declare war on Code if you are in an alliance that can declare war on other alliances. But yeah, the thing to do is always do it on alliance base, because that will place all the corporation in the alliance with that standing. So let's just talk to the Enforcer agent and let's get going.
Your choice of career agent will not limit you in any way. You can choose to work with multiple agents, but let's focus on just one for now. To begin the next phase of what I'm sure will be an illustrious career, accept a mission.
Cash flow for Capsuleers, mission 1 of 10. I have just the thing you want. I might not always read these texts because some of them are really, really long. Corelli thugs are harassing miners in a nearby asteroid belt. Let's clean up the area. Make sure you keep your target within your weapon range and try not to give them a stationary target. Objectives: clear the pirates from the asteroid belt, as your agent has requested on behalf of a group of miners. Location: the solar system. As you can see, Koister. I will fuck up a lot of these names. CCP that made the EVE Online is based in Iceland, and they have some really fucked up names. I prefer the nullsec names, since they are just a bunch of letters and then a hyphen, I think it's called, and then some numbers generally. But some of these solar system names, they are so fucked up in how they're named. So for completing this mission, we will be given a 75mm Gatling rail. 1. We will get into what that 1 means, and we will be given 2,000 antimatter rounds for this weapon. So let's accept it.
Using skill plans to guide your progression will make your life easier and prove rewarding. As you explore different career opportunities, you will find skill plans tailored to match your evolving goals. Career agents will sometimes reward capsuleers with new ships. It is wise to have the skills required for those ships in your training queue.
And we will cover that once we get another ship.
We're almost ready to embark on our new adventure. Now is the perfect time to close any windows you no longer need on your display. Missions you have accepted or been offered are added to your Opportunities interface. Open it to take a look.
And we just need to undock, so let's do that. Some of these stations are so cool looking, I think. The Galente have some really nice stations, I think. Too bad most of the ships are just so goddamn ugly. Let's just warp to the side and let's get going. We are still in this Corvette. I hope we get a new ship soon, or else I might just go in and buy one. That's not what I wanted to click. No, let's actually wait. Let's wait till we have some time to actually cover how the market works and what you need to be aware of. So yeah, I would say somewhat always keep an eye on your local. What I would normally do, especially when I was involved in soft warfare, is always have a local tab away from the normal chat windows that we were using. Oh, we have an enemy. Let's orbit. So, when using weapons, you always need to make sure you are within range. If you're using missiles, which we are not, you just want to make sure you are within range. But when you are using turrets, you can see it has a fall-off range and it has an optimal range. So fall-off range is, as a general rule of thumb, and it's not always true, but that is the maximum range of the weapon. You can still hit targets above the fall-off range, but above the fall-off range you will begin to suffer huge negative to your accuracy. Optimal range within is basically just the optimal range you need to be within for the gun to function at its prime capacity. In terms of tracking speed, that's how quickly it can track enemy targets, and also how accurate it is. We can actually target him up and then just open fire right away. Yeah, we missed him completely. So one thing you can do with Orbit is looking at the optimal range and go, okay, 5,000. Then you can right click Orbit and say, I just need to be within 5,000. And then orbit him at that range. Because you don't want to just always approach, because you can now see we are now starting to actually hit him. We are dealing quite a lot of damage to him. You don't want to always just go. You can set it all the way down to 500, and you don't want to always go 500 meters. You want to stay roughly at the edge of your, maybe a few hundred meters within your optimal distance. And the reason for that is because they may be equipped with close combat weapons, so they may need to close the distance in order to be able to hit you better, but also just because it says optimal range within, it doesn't mean it will perform as good at 500 meters as it will at 5,000 meters. That all depends on the tracking speed of the weapon. You also have a limit. Again, as a general rule of thumb, let me just quickly check it. Can we see maximum number of targets? Yeah, so maximum locked targets is how many targets you can have locked at a time. This is ship dependent, I believe, but there are skills that can increase this number. So for instance, if we were to go to our skill window, then go to targeting. Where is targeting? Where is targeting? There it is. Target management. So you can see here, skill at targeting multiple targets plus 1 extra target per skill level up to the ship's maximum allowed of locked targets. And I think, yeah, so this is ship dependent. And I was talking about briefly in one of the episodes the difference between wrecks that have loot in them and wrecks that are empty. You can see if you have watched the other episodes. If not, then what are you doing here? Go watch them. But you can see if this wreck was full, it would have this little box, this little sort of square box in between these little chevrons that actually shows that this wreck has loot in them. We will cover all of this at a later time. There are other things you can do with the wrecks. You can salvage them. That also requires skills. Salvage is needed. The items you get from salvaging wrecks, I believe, is... Oh, you can see here. Contains loot item, and you can see the difference between these two icons. These are missing the little filled box. So let's just approach that so we can loot it. But yeah, you can salvage empty wrecks. You can also salvage full wrecks. But you will get items, and I believe those items, it's a special kind of items when you salvage wrecks, and I believe those items are needed to produce something called subsystems, which are used in tier 3 ships or tech 3 ships. So generally, there are 2 tiers, 2 techs, tech 1 and tech 2. Let's just loot all. We got some more ammunition, a different kind of ammunition than the kind we are getting from this mission.
Warp drive active.
So this, the corvette doesn't really classify as a ship, but it is, if you were to place it in one of the techs, then it is definitely a tech 1 ship. But I will cover tech 1 and tech 2 once we get a new ship. Or maybe a new item. Civilian items are, again, a different... I would actually classify the corvette as a civilian ship in terms of it only being able to use civilian weapons. Or I think you might... I think I phrased that wrong.
Docking permission requested.
The corvette is the only ship I think that's able to equip civilian items, but you can equip non-civilian items on a corvette, but I don't think you can equip civilian items on non-corvette ships. I think that's how I'm supposed to phrase that. So we can now start the conversation. We have completed the mission. Excellent work, the Bald Eagle. Maybe I should have just named him Bald Eagle. Yeah, I think I should have just named him Bald Eagle and not the Bald Eagle. Excellent work, the Bald Eagle. But it's okay, I can live with that. I'll have the miners return to work. See me when you're ready for your next assignment. We are ready right now. Oh, we are getting a new ship. We are getting an Atron. So, part 2. Sure, I've got something. The Serpentists have kidnapped one of the miners and are demanding a hostage swap. They want the one responsible for the comrade's death, that would be us, and apparently they have no idea you are a trained capsuleer. Go teach them a permanent lesson. So, acquire these goods. This is very important. We need to actually acquire the civilian. He may be in a wreck or get ejected in a cargo can once we destroy the ship he is in, where he's being held captive. It might also be a station we need to blow up, or just take him out of a station. We'll cover that once we get there. Eliminate the pirates and rescue the civilian miner they are holding as captive. The civilian will be transferred into your cargo once you have destroyed the pirates. So just ignore everything I just said. I don't think this will be the case every time you have to get a quest item.
Missions you have accepted or been offered.
Yes. And basically, this was one of the things I used to do way back when I was a high-sec pirate. I would used to go into other people's mission and then steal the mission items and then ransom it back to them. Because you cannot complete the missions without without the mission item if you need a mission item, and you suffer a huge penalty. Normally, I don't think you do with these agents, but normally you would suffer a huge penalty if you accepted a mission and then had to cancel it. So agent mission, this was the one I was talking about. That's normally how I navigate and fly to missions. I would just right click and then just go here, encounter the dead space, and warp to area.
Warp drive active.
And it is the lowest form of piracy you can do, that is to steal other players' mission items. So here we are, arriving in the pocket, or in the room. And I will cover that at a somewhat later point when we get to proper explaining the difference, not the difference, but what rooms and pockets are. Or I could actually just do it now. So when you look at the map of Eve, let's just ignore this gigantic map. Every single dot you can see here, you can fly to. You don't necessarily want to do that. So this is the map of the solar system we are in. We cannot see everything on the map because we have not decided to show everything. And I wonder how you would actually... Or is it showing everything? It might actually be showing everything. So anyway, the best way of describing... I mean, where the hell are we? I mean, are we even in this sector? Yeah, we are in this sector. Okay, so where the hell would we be? Okay, we are out here. Basically out in the middle of nowhere. Around every single celestial object, whether or not they are celestial objects, by that I mean the sun, planets, moons, asteroid belts, stations. There is a sort of pocket around that celestial object that can vary in size. It can be, I think, anywhere from 1,000 meters or maybe 1,000 kilometers. 1,000 meters is a bit too little, way too little. But let's just go with 1,000 kilometers. If you are within 1,000 kilometers of that station, again, the size may vary. It may be 10,000 kilometers, it may be 100,000 kilometers, depending on, for me, a lot of unknown factors regarding the station or planet or sun. But let's just go with basics. So 1,000 meters. If you are within 1,000 meters of that station, then you will be in the station pocket, and you will be able to see everything on the overview that is within the same pocket as you. They will show up again in the general area, like these ships here. You can see here this is 10 kilometers, so this is a fairly huge pocket. I mean, it basically consists of this entire area here. But you are still able to see other objects, unless you, of course, as I've said before, unless you customize your overview. But while you're within that pocket, you're able to see all other ships in that pocket. If you move outside of the 1,000 kilometers, again, that's a very small pocket, but it's just for sake of argument. If you move outside of that pocket, then you will not be able to see the ships that are nearby the station, but you will have created your own pocket. And I think if, for instance, if I just were to do this, if I just were to click in a point in space and just keep flying that way for hours, I will keep moving my own pocket away with me, and I'll be the only player in that pocket. I will not be able to see anyone else around me. And I think, let's just go with, you always have a pocket if you're just yourself of 1,000 meters. This might not be the best way of explaining it. But all of these areas, all of these mission areas consists of these pockets that you can go to. Other players can also go to them if they can find you. There are ways of scanning you down. But you can move outside of pockets and then lose. If I were to fly outside of this pocket, I would lose these ships here. They would probably follow me and I would never be able to lose them. So yeah, pockets are also called rooms. And it will come up, the importance of them will come up maybe way later. Just know that there are things called rooms and pockets and things like that. And this was a very convoluted, very stupid way of trying to explain pockets and what they do in EVE. But it is basically just the area in which you are and other players are. So let's just get this. There's loot in this rig here. So let's just get that. And we cannot target. No, you can see there's also a max target distancing. Again, there is skills to increase that. I think it also depends on the ship type you are flying, how far away you can be from targeting someone. Let's just loot the metal scraps. They are not really worth anything. You can refine them into a little bit of materials that you can use to build stuff with, but you would need a lot of metal scraps. We can actually target them. You can see here you have a very brief combat log. It shows how much damage you deal, what type of damage, being thermal and kinetic damage to the coral initiate. And let's just orbit him and let's open fire on him straight away. Ooh, more loot. It might just be metal scrap, since this is a very low mission. Low level mission, so to speak. It is just a career agent. Not saying that you couldn't get lucky and get some very nice loot. But in this case, it's just metal scraps. And yeah, we killed the last enemy, so we got a civilian. So let's actually try and go to the station. We can warp to within 100 kilometers. And then I might be able to explain the pocket a little bit better. What is that on my screen? Press here for mission details. Yeah, and it just tells us we have the civilian and we need to head to the station to dock up. So I have warped to 100 kilometers away from the station, and we can actually see ships. Yeah, he just launched scanner probes, but we can actually see ships that are 140 kilometers away. So this is a fairly huge pocket. If I were to turn around and then keep flying this way, I won't do it because this pocket could be hundreds of thousands of kilometers wide before it happens. But if I move far enough away from this pocket, all of these ships, I will no longer be able to see them. They will not be able to see me either. And then I will be outside of the pocket. I will still be able to see the station visually, like looking at it now. And it will of course still show up in my overview. But I will not be able to see all of these ships coming and going like they are now. You can see ships flying in, ships flying off, if I move outside of the pocket. Once I move outside of the station's pocket, I will then be inside my own pocket. And that pocket, as I said, might just be 1,000 kilometers. That's also how you can create what is known as a deep safe. And we will cover those things later because they are somewhat advanced, but they can really save your life in a pinch. Let's just... Yeah, I need to warp off and then... Yeah, let's just warp off because else I am too close to warp to the station. So I will just fly at normal speed and that will take a long time to travel 130 kilometers. So let's just very quickly warp off. Yeah, let's just go here.
Warp drive active.
And I hope I managed to explain at least Pocket a little better. It's a sort of... It allows you to see what ship is nearby. It's in the same pocket as you can just see here if I move away. Yeah, now I'm outside of the station's pocket. I can no longer see other ships. I'm inside my own pocket. And sometimes when you warp to and from station and gates and planets, if you watch your overview very quickly, you will just get a brief snapshot of another ship passing by in the same lane. For instance, I keep pressing the wrong button when I want the map. So for instance, we have... Yeah, so we have a warp gate here. And we have another... I didn't mean to do that. We have another warp gate. Do we have a warp gate here? There should be another warp gate in this system. Or is that just me that is a complete idiot? There's only one warp gate. Okay, there's only one gate in this system. Okay. But for instance, if you warp to and from the warp gate and the station, always going in the same line, then for instance, right here, you are not near any celestial body. You are only in your own pocket while flying this route here, but you may pass another ship going the other way, and then you will very quickly see it in the overview over here, and that just means that you are basically in the same pocket for just a split second. And yeah, other people can scan you down while you're in your own pocket. So again, you are never 100% safe. You can make yourself very, very safe in high sec, but you are never 100% safe. I just need to do a quick favor for my wife, so yeah, let's just dock up and then I will end this episode. It has been a 40-minute. I'm not sure how long these episodes will be. They may vary a lot in time, but I will try and at least be somewhat consistent. But yeah, that was the second mission. I will just end the recording here, and I hope I managed to at least somewhat explain what pockets are and sort of... We will cover it more once we get into missions that have more than one room or pocket. Then we will get to see it and sort of better in effect in terms of missions. So, thanks for all the fish, guys. Please take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.